Good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction. Sorry for the long paragraph. Didn't know I was going to give you the entire presentation, so you guys heard the whole buzz right there. I want to start with the story of how the company began, because it's a really cool story, and it's part of the reason why I'm here. So our two co-founders were in urology residency together, and one night they were called in to do an emergency cystoscopy in the middle of the night. It took their hospital over 4 hours to find the typical equipment that would need to be found to do a 20-minute procedure. And so through that initial kickoff experience, they realized that what you see on this slide here, the traditional carts that have been around since the mid-'80s, there hasn't been a lot of innovation for portability, there hasn't been a lot of innovation for miniaturization, and there hasn't been a lot of innovation for any type of intelligence that's been put in. And so we're really pleased to introduce you to the Endoluxe EVS Orb, and I'm going to share with you the story about where we're going. My name's Devon Bream. I've been in the medical device industry for 25 years, primarily focused for the last 20 years in minimally invasive surgery. So I have a huge passion around imagery, and I have a great passion around disruptive technology. So as many of you know, for minimally invasive surgery, not much has changed since it began. Surgeons started looking through scopes instead of incising the body. About the mid-'80s, camera technology was added on top of those scopes so that the whole surgical team could see what was going on. But since about the mid-'80s, there hasn't been much innovation. As I said earlier, there hasn't been any shrinkage of the technology, there hasn't been any mobilization, and there sure hasn't been any intelligence added to those camera platforms until now. Quickly on MIS, we all know it's a growing segment of our business. In this slide, the importance of this is every single MIS procedure requires a camera. And so the whole TAM for this part of the business is huge. Currently sitting at about 6.8 with a very healthy CAGR, and this is just the camera portion of minimally invasive surgery. So our ecosystem is really a technology journey. What our co-founders first thought of was to make a state-of-the-art wireless camera. And what they quickly realized with the new technology that's available on the market, just like in our iPhones that's collecting data all the time, these cameras can collect data that can provide valuable insights. But that data needs to go somewhere. And so we had to develop a cloud service for the data to be stored and analyzed, which takes us to the final step of our journey, which is the application of some smart technology, some AI, ML insights. So quickly, this is our camera platform, an entire tower. For those that have ever dealt with towers, they're usually 9 feet tall and weigh almost 100 pounds. And so we've shrunk it down to the same exact form factor that you're seeing here. This is an actual production model. We were proud to win the Medical Design Award last year, and that's just the camera platform. So the camera in and of itself is disruptive by definition, right? Better technology at a much lower cost. A typical hospital has anywhere from 50 to 60 of those towers, those legacy towers, and so you can see the huge price implication and cost benefit to our medical device industry. The cloud service provides really important functionality as well. So I mentioned earlier that the data gets transmitted to the cloud to be stored, but it also allows for connectivity to the hospital EMR and patient record system, and it provides a better patient user satisfaction, where the surgeon or physician can immediately review any of the images or photos that were taken in the procedure to explain what the outcomes were. And our final step is our AI ML, and that's why we're at the conference today. We're here to raise and finish out our vision, our journey of where this kind of technology could go with the help of some additional capital. So not only do we have a smart camera that I'm going to tell you a little bit about the AI ML, but when they started building a new camera from the ground up, they were able to put technologies in here that no other platform has. So we have a gyroscope, and we have an accelerometer, which allows us to know where the camera is in the human anatomy. Our thought process on AI is very similar to lane assist, so similar to what Tesla does. It's not obtrusive. It's not trying to take over the car. It's simply trying to provide some additional data for the clinician while they're doing their procedure. Because right now, clinicians, as we know, they rely upon their training and then their personal experience. There is no additional information when they're doing a procedure during surgery that help guide them in any way. So this is our first proof of concept that we're proud to say we've completed, and that was anatomy identification. And you can see we're going through a urethra here. Sorry, right before lunch. But we're going through the urethra here, and our AI is correctly identifying the anatomy that it sees. The second step, very similar to Tesla, is identifying different structures. So just like Tesla recognizes a tree versus a dog versus a stop sign, we're able to identify different structures throughout the urethra. So whether it be the prostate, the verum, or the bladder neck, all critical. But the next step is what is really exciting, and that will be the anatomical configuration, and then finally the identification of where to deploy therapies. Validation is exciting because the therapy companies are interested in us. So they realize that, hey, if a camera technology can help us, the therapy company, apply our therapy better, that's going to help the therapy companies with their adoption rate. So we're receiving really positive industry feedback as well. Very validating. We're hyper-focused on getting a beachhead in urology right now because our two co-founders that are here are urologists, practicing urologists, and that's what we're focused on first. But then we're quickly going to move to gynecology, pulmonology, ENT, ortho, and then eventually to the larger cavity of general surgery. Our revenue model is classic. It's great. We've got a capital device, but then we also have a SaaS. So we have a SaaS for the AI, for the cloud storage, and for our service and warranty. Intellectual property, we have 2 patents that are already filed, which is really exciting. And more excitingly, we filed our 3rd patent, which has a lot of application for our AI ML application for the therapy companies. Regulatory status, we're currently Class 1 exempt, but we know once we apply and add the AI, we're going to need to go up to Class 2. So we're going to need some funding to finish that out. We're looking through the breakthrough device designation and then also to get our TPT code to add on. So key takeaways, it's a huge market, ready and primed to be disrupted. It hasn't been disrupted since 1985. We have great value in the camera in and of itself. We have an AI ML component that'll add intelligence onto that. We have great IP, and let me introduce you to the team real quick. So Dr. Patel and Dr. Zhao that are here are practicing urologists. They are the ones that founded the company originally. They brought me in with my 25 years of medical device experience to help broaden the success. And our CFO and COO have also been in the medical industry for over 20 years. We have a wonderful clinical advisory board. Both Dr. Desai and Dr. Satella are just right up the street at Keck. So they've been providing wonderful insight in our experts. And Dr. Segal up in Toronto has fantastic stretch all the way down through Africa. So he actually took this down to Africa and proved that in Africa you could do an entire surgery without all the modern fixings of a regular operating room. In our business advisory board, many of you might know Phil. Phil got his first hole-in-one yesterday, so if you see him walking around, make sure to give him a high five. But he's been fantastic, and I want to thank him and Kit Patel, who's an AI engineer from Rice University, is guiding our AI initiative, and Vikram, who owns a global manufacturing, is helping us manufacture these here in the USA. So I'd like to thank everybody. I hope you have a chance to come to our breakout and learn a little bit more about where we are on our journey. Thank you.